Okay, today we're going to perform experiment 2A, the law of definite composition, where we're going to measure the mass of a piece of magnesium, then burn it, and measure the mass of the compound that forms, and we'll compare the ratio of elements that went into making that compound, and that should correspond to a definite composition of elements into the oxide of magnesium that's formed in this reaction. Our first job is to take a look at the equipment that we have here. Today we're going to be using a crucible and cover. This is where we'll burn our magnesium. We'll need to measure the mass of the crucible and cover empty first. It's clean. So we'll use our balance here to measure the mass. Whenever you use a balance, you push a 0 button first until it reads 0, 0. And then we place both the empty container on there and the lid. And we get a mass of 22.99 grams. That's for the empty crucible and cover. I'm then going to clean my magnesium off because magnesium is a very reactive metal, and so it reacts all on its own with air. So if I can clean off any of the oxides that exist there at first with a little piece of sandpaper, I'll roll up my magnesium into a small ball to fit into the crucible. So there's my clean magnesium. I'll place that in the crucible and cover. Our new mass with the crucible cover and magnesium reads 23.44 grams. Okay, now we're going to set up the ring stand. We use a pipe stem triangle here. The pipe stem triangle is used to support the crucible. So we can put our crucible in the pipe stem triangle, and then we're about to light that on fire. Basically, we're going to heat the crucible as hot as it'll get until it reacts with both nitrogen and oxygen from the air. Notice I have my stylish apron and my safety goggles on. Don our safety goggles. Okay, now that we have our mass of magnesium metal measured, placed it in our crucible, have the crucible on our pipe stem triangle on the ring stand. We're ready to light the Bunsen burner and to heat this magnesium up until it combusts with air. The way you light a Bunsen burner is you turn your valve on, light the match, hold the match below the top of the Bunsen burner, and get that ignited. We can move that crucible just a little bit closer to the Bunsen burner to make sure that it gets good and hot. And according to your instructions, we will heat for 4 minutes. And then we'll open up the lid and take a look, see what it looks like. So we'll be back. Okay, it's been a while now, and so now the lid has been on. I'm going to slightly take the lid off and see what happens, see if anything's happened. And yes, you can see it is burned in there, and there's our magnesium burning. I'll keep the lid on with it slightly ajar so air can get in. We won't lose any of our product. That's been about 4 minutes. We'll heat for another minute or so, and then we will let it cool. Okay, no more smoke is coming out, so we'll turn the flame off. It seems like it's burned completely, and we'll let that cool. Take a look and see that it has changed. Sure enough, a chemical reaction has occurred. We can see light, we can see a color change. We now have a white powder at the bottom of our crucible. I'll put the lid on and let it cool. Okay, now that it's cooled, we can measure the mass of our product. So I'll get my tongs, I'll carefully lift it off. I'll check to make sure that it's not hot, and it's not hot. I'll push 0 on my balance. Let's move this down. Push 0 on the balance. It still reads 0, which is fine. And now I'll place my crucible cover and lid on there, and we get 23.49. 23.49 grams. Okay, now we need to do a little bit of converting here. It turns out that, of course, magnesium in the crucible reacted with the components of air. There are 2 components of air that are reactable. One is oxygen, of course, and the other is nitrogen. We're going to convert the magnesium nitride over to magnesium oxide by adding 6 to 8 drops of water. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 for fun, and then I'm going to waft it, and getting a slight smell of ammonia. So it converts the magnesium nitride over to magnesium oxide. With that, to make sure that it's all now magnesium oxide, I'll put my crucible and cover back on the heater, and we'll heat that for a few more minutes. Drive off any extra water, drive off any magnesium nitride. We'll give that a few minutes. Okay, now that it's cooled, we can measure the mass again after our second heating. We converted it all over. It's at 0, 0 again. Oops. And we get 23.62. 23.62 grams. Okay, just to be sure that we've gotten all of the reaction, all of the magnesium to react, we're going to heat it one more time to make sure that our last mass measurement is the same, and then we know all the reaction has occurred. Our last heating just to check. Okay, now it's cooled after our second heating, and we'll have to make sure that the reaction has completely occurred. It's nice and cool. Won't burn my balance. It's reading 0, 0. 26.64, so very close. It went up 23.64. It went up a little bit, but we're safe that it didn't go down. So we're going to go with 23.64 grams for our final mass of our product plus the crucible and cover. Okay, now we're going to perform this lab again, and we're going to see if we can get 2 sets of data to work with. I've got a new piece of magnesium, a new crucible, the mass of the crucible and cover. Here's my empty crucible and cover, a new one. The mass of that, let's push 0. Read 0. Mass of our new crucible and cover is going to be 21.74. I'm going to fold up my magnesium. Getting it ready to burn. I've already sanded off any of the oxide on it. Maybe another mass will get us some more results to work with. Here's my new piece of magnesium, all bundled up. Put that in there. Mass of the crucible cover and magnesium, 22.25 grams. All right. Once again, we're ready to heat that baby up. Grab my crucible cover with my magnesium, turn the flame on, light my match, and we'll let it go for a while. We'll let that go for about 4 minutes again. That's been going for a few minutes. I'm going to now see if I can show you what it looks like when it actually combusts. The lid's been closed. I'll slightly move this lid slightly open. And you can see that thing burning. There's good evidence of a chemical reaction. We're going to let that go for a while. I'll put that lid on it just to show you there's no magic here. We'll let that go for a minute or so till no more smoke is produced. If too much smoke was produced, we'd have to close the lid so we wouldn't lose product. I'm going to turn this video off and we'll let it cool down for a while. Okay, that's cooled down enough, and we'll measure the mass after our first heating. This is our product that has magnesium nitride and magnesium oxide in it. You still have to go through the conversion process. Push tear. And our new mass is 22.46 grams. Now I'll add my water. We can see that it's changed. It's obviously a new product. It's something else has been made. Four, 5, 6, 7. Woo! Really strong odor of ammonia on it. And now I'll heat it again. Okay, it's cooled, and now we're ready for our last mass measurement. 22.52. Okay, we're ready to heat for our second time. After adding the water, we're going to drive off all that water and any extra reaction that has to occur. We'll heat that for about 4 minutes.